the annals of history, few lives embody the monumental struggle for freedom and the profound power of forgiveness as completely as that of Nelson Mandela. His journey was not merely a story, but an epic saga of hope, courage, and unwavering determination that transformed a nation and inspired the world. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in the small, tranquil village of Mvezo in South Africa's Eastern Cape. His birth name, Rolihlahla, prophetically translates from the Xhosa language to pulling the branch of a tree, or more colloquially, troublemaker. He was born into the Madiba clan, a part of the Thembu royal family, and his father, Gadla Henry Mfakaniswa, served as a respected chief and a counselor to the Thembu king. Though his family was not wealthy in material terms, they held a high status within their community. His mother, Nosakini Fanny, a devout Christian, instilled in him the values of kindness, humility, and faith. Mandela's childhood was one of rustic simplicity, lived in a traditional mud and straw hut amidst rolling hills and open fields. Devoid of modern luxuries like electricity or running water, he experienced a profound sense of freedom. He spent his days herding cattle, swimming in streams, and playing traditional games with his friends. The evenings were filled with the stories of elders, tales of brave warriors, and leaders that ignited a spark in the young boy's heart. It was his father who planted a seed of purpose within him, teaching him that a real leader is not someone who wants power for himself, but someone who serves his people, a principle that would guide Mandela's entire life. Tragedy struck when Mandela was just 9 years old. His father passed away from an illness. This devastating loss marked a significant turning point. His mother entrusted him to the care of Chief Jongintaba Dalindyebo, the acting regent of the Thembu people. Welcomed as a son into the royal household, Mandela was exposed to a world beyond his village. He observed tribal meetings from the chief's palace, learning firsthand about leadership, tradition, and responsibility. At the age of 7, he began his formal education at a local Methodist school. It was there his teacher, Miss Midingane, gave him the English name Nelson, a common practice for African children in colonial-era schools. Though he didn't understand the necessity of a new name, he embraced his studies with a fervent curiosity. He excelled in English literature, geography, and history, particularly drawn to the stories of African heroes who resisted colonial domination. This passion for learning fueled his belief that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. As he matured, Mandela became acutely aware of the systemic injustice surrounding him. South Africa was governed by apartheid, a brutal system of racial segregation that denied Black people fundamental rights, including the right to vote, own land, or reside in white neighborhoods. At 16, during a traditional Xhosa initiation ceremony, the elders spoke not only of the responsibilities of manhood, but also of their deep sorrow over the subjugation of their people. It was then that a profound sense of duty to fight for justice and equality took root in Mandela's soul. When Chief Jongintaba arranged a marriage for him at 19, Mandela chose a different path. Driven by a desire for further education and self-determination, he made the bold decision to run away to the vibrant, chaotic city of Johannesburg. There, he confronted the harsh realities of apartheid head-on. He witnessed the stark contrast between the impoverished townships where Black people were forced to live and the opulent, privileged world of the white minority. He took a job as a night watchman at a gold mine and later as a clerk in a law firm, all while diligently pursuing his education. Despite living in a small, crowded room and often facing hunger, his resolve never wavered. Mandela eventually enrolled to study law at the University of the Witwatersrand, where he was one of a handful of Black students. The discrimination he faced there only hardened his resolve. During this period, he joined the African National Congress, ANC, a political organization dedicated to fighting for the rights of Black South Africans. Within the ANC, he and other young dynamic activists formed the ANC Youth League, advocating for a more assertive approach to challenge apartheid. Mandela's powerful and passionate speeches on justice and equality quickly earned him a reputation as a courageous and visionary leader. "It always seems impossible until it's done," he would often declare. In 1944, amidst his political activities, Mandela married Evelyn Ntokomase, a nurse who shared his dream for a liberated South Africa. They started a family, but his deepening commitment to the struggle frequently kept him away from home. He wrestled with the immense challenge of balancing his role as a loving father and husband with his duty as a revolutionary leader, believing that there is no passion to be found in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. In 1948, the government institutionalized apartheid with a battery of new, oppressive laws. In response, Mandela and the ANC organized peaceful protests, strikes, and marches inspired by the nonviolent resistance of Mahatma Gandhi. Thousands joined the movement, but the government met them with brutal force. Protesters were beaten, arrested, and killed. Mandela himself was arrested on multiple occasions, but his spirit remained unbroken. He understood that courage is not the absence of fear, but inspiring others to move beyond it. In 1952, Mandela achieved a personal milestone by opening the first Black-owned law firm in South Africa with his friend and comrade Oliver Tambo. The firm, Mandela and Tambo, provided free or low-cost legal aid to Black South Africans victimized by apartheid laws. His days were spent in courtrooms, his nights dedicated to planning the next phase of the freedom struggle. A turning point came in 1960 with the Sharpeville massacre, where police opened fire on a peaceful protest, killing 69 people. This horrific event convinced Mandela and the ANC leadership that nonviolent protest alone was insufficient. The government banned the ANC, forcing its leaders underground. They formed a secret armed wing, Umkhonto we Sizwe, Spirit of the Nation, with the stated aim of sabotaging government infrastructure, not harming people. Nelson Mandela became a fugitive, known as the Black Pimpernel for his skill in evading capture. He traveled across South Africa in disguise, organizing the resistance and journeying abroad to garner international support. But in 1962, his life on the run came to an end. He was arrested and charged with sabotage and treason. At his trial, Mandela turned the courtroom into a platform to condemn apartheid. In a speech that would echo across the globe, he famously declared, "I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against Black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." He was sentenced to life imprisonment and sent to the notorious Robben Island prison. For the next 27 years, his existence was a daily test of will. He performed hard labor in a limestone quarry and was confined to a tiny cell. Yet Mandela refused to be broken. He used his time to study, reflect, and secretly communicate with other leaders. He even learned Afrikaans, the language of his oppressors, to better understand them. He transformed his prison into a center of learning, embodying his belief. "I am fundamentally an optimist. Part of being optimistic is keeping one's head pointed toward the sun, one's feet moving forward." While he was incarcerated, Mandela became the world's most famous political prisoner, a global symbol of the fight against injustice. A massive international movement with the rallying cry, "Free Nelson Mandela," put immense pressure on the apartheid regime through sanctions and protests. On February 11, 1990, the world watched as a 71-year-old Nelson Mandela, gray but unbowed, walked out of Victor Verster prison, a free man. "I stand here before you not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people," he announced. His release was not just a personal victory, but the dawn of a new era for South Africa. Facing the immense task of healing a deeply divided nation, Mandela chose forgiveness over revenge. "Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies," he wisely counseled. He began negotiations with the apartheid government, paving the way for the country's first ever democratic election. On April 27, 1994, South Africans of all races stood in long lines to cast their votes for the first time. Nelson Mandela was elected the first Black president of South Africa. At his inauguration, he proclaimed, "Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. As president, he championed reconciliation. In a masterstroke of nation building, he embraced the national rugby team, the Springboks, once a symbol of white supremacy during the 1995 Rugby World Cup. His act of wearing the team's jersey unified the country in a shared moment of triumph. After serving one term, Mandela stepped down from the presidency in 1999, demonstrating that true leadership lies in service, not in clinging to power. In his later years, he became a global elder statesman, advocating for peace, education, and the fight against HIV/AIDS. On December 5, 2013, at the age of 95, Nelson Mandela passed away. The world mourned the loss of a titan of humanity. His legacy is not confined to South Africa. It is a universal testament to the power of perseverance and forgiveness. His life proved that greatness is forged in sacrifice, hard work, and an unshakable belief in a just cause. He taught the world that failure is an opportunity to learn, that every individual has the power to make a difference, and that true freedom is found in liberating both the oppressed and the oppressor. Nelson Mandela's journey reminds us that in face of insurmountable odds, hope can prevail. As he himself said, and as his life so powerfully demonstrated, the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall.